In 1988, the band Metallica put out their fourth studio album called Injustice for All. On it was a track called One. Toward the end, it built up to this really heavy-hitting part, and the lyrics said this: "Darkness, imprisoning me, all that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live, I cannot die, trapped in myself, body my holding cell. Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul, left me with life in hell." Now, what I find fascinating about the lyrics of that song is the study that I did on the miracles of Jesus Christ while preparing a larger video on the topic of the Nephilim. Let me remind you of what it was that the Nephilim taught humanity. Azazel, weapons, metallurgy, cosmetics. Simjaza, spell casting chants. Amoros, spell breaking chants. Barakagel, astrology. Kokabel, ancient astronomy. Ezekiel, knowledge of clouds. Arakiel, signs of earth. Shamsiel, signs of the sun. And Sariel, courses of the moon. When you break down Jesus' miracles a certain way, something fascinating occurs. It's a bit interesting to me, on another note, that whether or not the Trinity is absolute truth tends to hinge on verses that either explicitly state it or are vague about it. But when one looks at most of the miracles of Jesus, we see something interesting. Let's talk about God for 1 second. God is the primary and secondary causation. He is outside of time, space, and matter. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We have time, space, and matter there. God is also the secondary causation because he can control events inside his creation. So why don't we ever look at the miracles of Jesus collectively to see if they define the Trinity, or who Jesus is, or the veracity of his truth claims? Let's break it down via some data. Generally, I've broken his miracles down by number. But keep in mind that often restoration of sight, hearing, or voice would accompany a demon or spirit being cast out as well. So generally, he restores speech twice, restores hearing twice, restores sight 4 or more times. He cleanses lepers several times, including one instance where he cleansed 10 at once, so let's say 11 or more. General healings, you've got 28. Controlling people in the physical world and raising them from the dead, 4 times. He rose 3 from the dead, not counting himself. He controls weather and nature 9 times. He controls evil spirits 5 times, and indirectly over 12 times. Let's break it down. He cleanses a leper, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Heals the servant of a centurion, according to Matthew and Luke. He heals Peter's mother-in-law, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He heals a sick and possessed group of people, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He calms a storm, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He sends demons into a herd of pigs, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He heals a paralyzed man, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He raises the leader Jairus' daughter from the dead, according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He heals a woman who had been hemorrhaging blood for 12 years. And I find that interesting. There's 12 tribes of Israel. There might be something analogous to the birth pangs of Genesis 3:15 and 16. He cures a possessed mute, often the ability to not see, not hear. not speak is attached to a possession of some kind, and who knows what that means. I can see how these line up to Jesus' parables in a really interesting way, and maybe I'll do another video on that. He heals someone with a withered hand, just makes a new hand for the guy. He heals a possessed, blind mute. He feeds 5,000 people according to all 4 Gospels at once, miraculously, with loaves and fishes. He walks on the sea according to Matthew, Mark, and John. He heals a woman's daughter according to Matthew and Mark. He feeds 4,000 according to Matthew and Mark, and maybe this is different than the account of the feeding of the 5,000. We really don't know for sure. He heals an epileptic according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew alone, the tax collector, gives us an interesting account where a tax coin is given in a fish's mouth. Jesus heals a blind man, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He makes a fig tree wither according to Matthew and Mark, and then there's a parable of a fig tree. He casts out unclean spirits according to Mark and Luke. He heals a deaf mute according to Mark. He heals a blind man at Bethsaida according to Mark. He escapes a raging crowd miraculously according to Luke. Now, he also commands that fish are caught. Says, cast your net down. This is according to Luke alone. Raises a widow's son from the dead, according to Luke. Heals a crippled woman. Heals a man with dropsy. Cleanses 10 lepers at once. Heals Malchus's ear when he's caught. According to the Gospel of John, when he says, I am, the whole group of the legion of Roman soldiers were flung back. He turns water into wine, according to John. And then there's the parable about the new and old wineskin. Interesting. He heals an official's son, according to John. He heals an invalid. He heals a man blind from birth. He raises Lazarus from the dead. And he commands that fishes are caught. These are just the general miracles of Jesus Christ. You could make an argument by his miracles alone, his miracles, that he is God. You don't need an explicit verse that defines him as the Trinity. I mean, clearly. And clearly, he's also representative of the redemptive restoration of mankind that had fallen due to. Picture the scene. It's described in the book of Job, where who we know as the devil goes before God with some of the cast of fallen angels, and he says, hey, Job only listens to you because you've given him everything. I mean, take away some of the stuff and see what happens then, right? We see in the New Testament that a new covenant is made, and now those who believe on Jesus Christ and can make it to the end will be saved, and they will be given the power to be sons of God. A new definition for this. Anyway, the connection to the Metallica song. Listen to those lyrics again, and listen to the miracles of Jesus I just read you. Restores speech, restores hearing, restores sight. And the song says, darkness, imprisoning me, all that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live, I cannot die, trapped in myself, body my holding cell. Think of all these people that he cured. Landmine, what's that? Well, Azazel taught us weapons and metallurgy, so we've been using them on each other. The Tower of Babel. Now nothing they seek to do will be stopped from it. Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul, left me with life in hell. There is one mediator between God and man, and his name is Jesus Christ. I just thought this was interesting. Do with it what you will. Talk to y'all on the next one, working on part 18 of the New Christian History of the Church. It's going to come out sometime this week, working on a fascinating period of time after the First Council of Constantinople, prior to the first time Rome is attacked as it falls in weakness. We get the writings of the African Code by Dionysius Exiguus in about 419, 420. And then we're going to land on the doorstep of the Third Ecumenical Council at Ephesus. I'm also working on an interesting video about the Nephilim. A new one. Needs an update. It's going to cover everything, plus all the new writings I've read recently. You can support our work. It's all in the description. PayPal, Venmo, Cashapp, Patreon, become a member. Whatever you can do to help us. Because listen, I'm not good at the technology part of this. And algorithms are not friends for Christian channels. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not using it as an excuse. I continue to fight in spite of what this censorship does to voices that are trying to speak absolute truth. Am I bitter? No. Not at all. Because I know I'm doing what the Lord has called me to do. And that is to teach church history. To give narrative apologetics tools for this post-Christian missions field. If I reach one, I'm happy. If I reach more, I'm even happier. You can help, comment, like, share, subscribe, all of the above. Because if you're here, like me, you do want to hear the truth. Most don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear that what they already believe is the truth. And everyone wants to be a reformer and the arbiter of their own absolute truth. Well, not here. Not here. We're in it together, friends. And we're going to keep on trucking. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Move ahead.